Hello, everybody. Jon Snedeker here with Notary Signing Agent Blueprint. Today we have another episode of Signing Agent Secrets with the wonderful Rita Cuellar. Rita's with Beta Maven Services right here in Tampa Bay, Florida. Rita's been a signing agent for about 3 months and is just getting started. Rita, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
Awesome. So take me back a little bit, Rita. Let's start with your story before loan signings. How did you even sort of find out that this is even available with loan signings?
Well, I was looking for some side hustles, and I had recently left the corporate world and bound and determined that I was not going to return to that type of employment environment, and I really wanted a different life. So I left. And I started researching side hustles, and it just so happened I follow Nick Loper. He has a website, a business. It's called Side Hustle Nation, and he sends out a weekly newsletter. And I actually had time for the first time since I've been getting that to actually go through it and read several different side hustle ideas.
Yeah, it's got long emails. Yeah, I know.
So he had that on there about Notary Signing Agent, and I was like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
And so I clicked in and I read about it a little bit, and then I remembered that several years ago I had refinanced my what was my primary residence at the time, and someone came to my home to do the closing, and I was actually very interested at the time in what she was doing. But that
life happens and your mind goes somewhere else, right?
Yeah, so that was very interesting to me, but I was extremely busy at the time with my regular job and school, so I didn't pursue it. So when I saw this on Nick's email, well, I had to check in it further. So I did a Google search, of course, to check it out, and then not long after that, since apparently Facebook is following me, your program populated my Facebook feed.
Gotcha. So you found out about the career obviously through Nick, and you've had a prior experience with a notary signing agent. That's fantastic. And I talk to a lot of people in corporate. It's not cracked up for everybody. It's not always what it seems it is. Corporate sort of steals people's souls, and so there's nothing wrong with corporate if you enjoy it, right? But it's not for everybody. And so the independent contractor, side gig economy, long-term contracted sort of positions provides that flexibility that corporate doesn't, not only in hours but on pay. And so that's really great. So you found the opportunity. So was there any particular spark that it really clicked that, like, like, this is it, this is the one? There's a lot of side hustle opportunities, but was there anything in particular that kind of said, what, loan signings is it?
Well, I think it was really, for me, all about the fact that I would have flexibility. That I wouldn't be locked in necessarily to an 8 to 5 that I had done for, decades. To really be able to shape what my everyday was going to look like. And that was very exciting for me. And also the fact that I love driving, so me getting out and driving somewhere, that's a good thing. I like it.
Sure.
And I already had my my notary. I had been commissioned for several years.
Tell people to knock the dust off of it and put it to work.
Exactly. I had to find my stamp.
Yeah,
because
I knocked the dust off.
I really did. Well, I had changed offices, and I was like, well, where did my stamp go?
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's fantastic. And so right now you've obviously you got the wheels in motion, and now do you consider yourself sort of part-time or full-time as a signing agent?
Well, I have been trying full time, but I've had some other negotiations going on with a another company that they need my particular list of skills to help them grow this company and then sell it within a couple years.
Yeah.
So that was very intriguing to me. And so I've been prepared to do it full time if that flow should actually come in.
Sure. Could change at any time, right? And very flexible.
While I was negotiating and while I was actually, my husband actually had a honey-do list, which was just hysterical. So I was, knocking some things off of that. Made a couple trips in the RV, different things like this.
Right.
But until now, I have been anticipating that I could do this full time until I actually started with this other company.
Gotcha. That's great. The opportunity provides that flexibility that corporate doesn't. Corporates, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's very much you're in or you're out. You're like drinking the juice or you're not drinking the juice. And
Yeah.
so the independent contractor, signing agent job just gives you the flexibility and opportunities that other things don't. And so you can juggle two things at once, three things at once. A lot of people have multiple side hustles to make it work. I just spoke to one of my best friends, Andrew, the other day about doing that. And that flexibility is there for you to choose it and choose your schedule consciously, and that's fantastic. And so while you're juggling that, is there maybe one particular aspect of the job? I know you talked about that flexibility. That's a big one that comes up in conversation when I speak to notaries across the country. The flexibility allows them to really live their life how they see fit. What do they need that flexibility for, right? And that's what really matters, is that level of importance of taking care of kids, or being able to do it during certain work hours, or maybe that anything medical come up where they have some sort of limitations, they can't lift a lot. It's that flexibility of a really light work, light lifting, very flexible, choose your own hours is a big deal that people like. Is there anything other than flexibility that you have a particular favorite towards, or is flexibility pretty much it? That's your favorite?
The flexibility is key for me. That was the big, what I can, live my life the way I see fit. If I decide, I'm not going to do any closings on a particular day because I want to go have lunch with my son, and then, oh, by the way, we're going to go see a movie.
Right.
Well, that's very exciting to me after being frankly handcuffed for so many years, the way I was.
Right.
So
Sure.
I would say that is, and then also what really kind of hooked me in was it's really pretty simple, isn't it? You get a close, either you pick up the docs or they're sent to you. You browse through. You it's almost so easy. It's so simple. It's almost too simple. It's like, do they want to scan back or fax back? Yes, no. Well, then if so, you got to do this. Well, then you got to ship it back to them. It's all stuff that anyone, if they haven't already done it, they can learn.
Right.
And so that the barrier to entry, so to speak, is so low.
The reality of the barrier to entry is it's easy work. It's do the paperwork, send a fax back, drop the docs, but people a lot of people have the fear of they've never done it before, they've never heard of it, and so they're sort of invisible walls that people see. And so the
Yeah.
reality is there's not much barrier to entry, but in people's minds sometimes it's a big jump for them. And so I think everyone's different, but the reality is it's not so bad when you're here. It's not so scary when you're here. When you see closings, when you see documents, that sort of comfort level builds with people. And that is really fantastic. You know, one of the things that you talked about was corporate sort of the cage a little bit. When I started doing loan signings, this was a while ago, I loved being out on the road. I just absolutely loved it. If you're in an office for a couple of years, you want to be out of the office. That was like vacation
Yes.
for me. And I didn't realize it until you're on the road and you're like, you know what? Like, wow, like this alone is just fantastic. So when you touch base on essentially, you know, the open road, it's like, wow, you know, that was one thing that just sort of jumped. One of the first things that I really loved was just being able to just walk outside and go meet people whenever I wanted, and not be just, you know, I didn't even really have a cubicle where I was, but you know, you got a desk where you can't leave it essentially. So that freedom was real.
Right. Right. And one
um,
of the things I found is that you can actually act like a normal person and actually like stop into a store and pick up
right.
something. Oh my gosh, and it's like the middle of the day.
That's
Um,
right.
okay.
Yep.
That was something that was just so foreign to
Warren.
me.
Yep. Yep.
It was just um it, it seems silly, but really when you're so accustomed to, you know, getting in those hours and, you know, maybe you don't have any windows, you can't even tell, is it raining, is
Right.
it sunny, what is the weather like today? Well,
Yep.
I don't know because my walls are all solid, you know. It's just, it's hard.
Yeah, definitely. And so what does success look like to you with loan signings? I mean, everybody's different. I speak to people, obviously they love the flexibility, they love the pay, they love that they, you know, are able to sort of choose their future. And you had brought up a lot, you sort of answered this already for sure. You know, not only in that flexibility, but it allows you to juggle multiple things at once. And you know, if you don't want to do signings one day at all, or you want to take your son to the movies or lunch, you can, or work on that other project all day, you know, 5 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. I mean, I've worked some 15-hour days in this business to do really, really well with loan signings, but you get to choose it. But as far as success with you, what does that look like? Can you paint a picture for anybody? I mean,
Yeah, so
time,
I,
money, goals. I mean, there's so many ways you could chalk it up, you know?
right, right. So I generally go on short-term goals and long-term goals. Um, and the long term is really easy. I wanted to retire early. Um, Now early could end up being 67. I don't know what early is going to be. I don't like attaching things to age.
Right.
Um, but you know, maybe early enough to where I'm still very energetic and vibrant and healthy. And I wanted to still have this signing business. Um, I still wanted it. I want it as a side hustle going into retirement.
I hear that a
I
lot of
don't want
people.
to retire and then go to zero. Or, you know, if I can delay pulling from my IRA or any 401ks or, you know, any of the streams of income, and I want to be engaged.
Yeah.
Now I do say about myself that I'm an introvert, which has been my biggest challenge in doing this signing agent business. But I still want to have that exposure to people,
Sure.
and I still want to have somewhere to be every day.
That's fantastic. You know, I talk to a lot of people and they love every day is a little bit different, but it's the same, essentially same essential job, but you're meeting new people. So it's very fresh and gives you that flexibility. Having somewhere to be, I had someone a couple weeks ago say, you know what, John, I want to feel important, and I said, okay, so let me paint this picture for you, sir, about exactly how you will feel important as a signing agent. People are waiting on you. People are waiting for you to be there. You're expected to be there on time, and they're waiting to be taken care of, essentially. And so everybody's got the different thing of what success looks like for them. And it's a really great story about how this sort of fits in your overall picture through retirement to prevent other things that you don't want to do. But it's a well thought out plan of how can you get exactly what you want through loan signings. And it's a little bit of not doing, pulling from retirement. It's a little bit of balancing the other job, taking care of things with the son and movies. It seems to fit in your schedule really well. And that's absolutely fantastic. And we actually briefly talked about this before, or a little bit earlier. Do you think anyone can help sign people do paperwork, or are there sort of required traits that you need to be successful in this business? I'm a little bit of half and half myself, but what do you think? Can anyone do this job, or are there any hard requirements?
I don't like saying hard requirements, because honestly, if I had felt that way when I started, I would have said, "Oh, Rita, you should not start this, because you would rather not call people,
Right.
and would rather not have to sell your services." And so, but that ended up being a great motivator, because either I want to get closings or I don't. Either I want to be successful or I don't.
Right.
So I feel like all of the skill sets required, if you don't already have them, this can definitely help you get them. It's all learnable.
It's very true. If you, like you said, if you don't have them, it's not going to take you long to learn how to simply make a phone call, go meet someone, shake their hand, and say, "I'm here to help you today with your paperwork," kind of thing. It's really not as intimidating once you do it. And
Right.
This is a job that it's not a bad thing to get outside of your comfort zone, and not just you. I mean, anybody. It forces you to get out of the house. It forces you to go meet people. These are not bad things. These are great things that help people become, a little bit more diversified by themselves, just of doing things that they don't normally do, meeting other people, shaking their hands, helping people, and having an important job to help people. And the money's not bad either. It's I had a call the other day, and it was more income focused, but this is not. There's so much more to this job than just money of what it does for you. And you brought up several of those really, really great points. And so the next thing is, as you know, I speak to a lot of people, and our mission is obviously helping signing agents not only just get started, but also get more business. So I'm going to read you something, okay? Despite completing the NNA's signing agent certification course, obtaining my E&O insurance, along with additional research, I couldn't really figure out how to exactly get started. I couldn't picture in my mind what the signing would be like until I watched live videos and had my aha moment. Now I have a much clearer vision of my next step, and then my next step. I was missing the confidence which came to the understanding of what those steps would be thanks to the NSA blueprint. Rita, I speak to so many notaries every single day across the country that go through other programs. In your particular case, it was the NNAs. Now, I have nothing bad against the NNA. I don't like to speak bad about anybody. It's just the reality is they're not a successful signing agent. They're a company. And so a lot of people expect, you can't fault them for that, right? I mean, they're highly recommended in our program to work with for certain things. But you had clearly, there was a missing connection with when you went through the training with the confidence piece and the next step and the vision. Can you maybe talk a little bit about that? Because I've been through the program as a long time ago, okay? I haven't gone through it this year, but you're recent out of their program. And obviously, if you don't know or not aware, Rita's been through our program as well. Can you talk a little bit about, can you talk a little more about that essentially for how you felt when you finished for each of the programs and really maybe how they even differ essentially?
Yeah, so they were very different. The NNA program was really all about uh, following the letter of the law.
Yeah,
Um, uh, the what you have to do for and then you
to
know
protect yourself, you know, with the
to
law.
protect yourself and going into the different requirements. So it was very driven by the requirements of the certification.
Hmm.
It was not at all, it did not get into marketing. It did not get into what you actually do
I hear that a
when
lot.
you get to a closing.
Yeah.
There were a lot of pieces. It was like just a sharp cutoff from NNA. Okay, good. Well, now I've got the certification, and they've put my information on this notary signing
Website, yeah,
website.
yeah.
But there was nothing after that
Hmm.
to help me take the next step.
Sure.
And even though I had already seen it in action with my own refi, many years ago,
Right.
but I didn't really connect that. I didn't think about that for whatever reason. And that was why I said I got my aha moment when I watched the actual videos that you had in the program,
Yeah.
because I was then, oh, okay, I get it. I see what
Right. Piece
I
it
I
together.
see now. Yeah. So yours was very different. Very different. It was really um driving home how you set up a business,
Right.
how you get the business off the ground, how
All
you
about
get
it.
more business if you need more, how you tone it down if you need less. Um, so much information that was really off the charts if it's compared to the NNA.
Thank you. We get a lot of compliments, and to this date, we've never gotten a bad review. The only reason why that's the case is because I've done almost 10,000 signings. I got this business figured out, and so I love to help people. I think the NNA is absolutely fantastic, and people cannot fault them for any sort of specific limitations. And I just feel like the people that call every day, I'm just going to go to them. That's fantastic. You can be aware of a few things. That's all. That they're not a signing agent. So can they show you how to do your taxes? Can they show you how to, get your mileage, track your mileage? Can they talk to you about all the secrets of getting business and tips and tricks? And, Rita, and many people don't
Mm,
know this, the toughest time I've ever had in this business was when I had 15 clients and I was just running myself into the ground every day, like 13, 14 hours with closings. I ended up firing all of them except for three. The toughest time I ever had was when I was just too busy in this business. And so it's funny that you bring up the fact like what to do when you're too busy, because that was seriously the hardest thing that I've dealt with. It almost made me say I don't want to do it anymore, and it got out of control. The miles, the tolls, the stress had an impact on my health as well. But regardless, I'm glad that you brought to anyone's attention that just the differences in the programs, what to expect. You're a recent graduate through both programs, and that's fantastic. And the most important thing is you have your confidence. You feel that you can do this. You
mhm,
feel like this is going to be an impact and make an impact on your life, pre-retirement, during retirement, even who knows, right? Don't always know exactly what the future holds a few years or several years from now, but that is awesome. So to wrap up here, be sure to hire Rita. I'm going to look here again. Cuellar, tricky one. Rita Cuellar for your next closing in Tampa Bay, Florida. Tampa is a huge market, Rita. 4 million
yes.
people within like 20 square miles. It's a lot of people in a small proximity. So if you're not busy, you are doing something wrong in Tampa. Okay, you too watching. Tampa is a huge market across the country. So Go ahead and be sure to like and share this video. If you're looking to get started or get more business, we do have an entirely free 90-minute training right on our website, notarysigningagentblueprint.com. It'll tell you exactly how I personally started without any time, money, or experience. I had a job, I didn't have the time, with $65,000 in student loan debt. And everybody closes their first loan once, right, Rita? No one's got experience closing loans. You're not born into it. You can't,
Right.
you know, everyone's got starts from closing number one. So you can learn that and how we can help you too. Rita, did I miss anything? Is there anything else that you wanted to go over whatsoever?
No, I think this has been great.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. We're
You're
very happy
welcome.
to help you, and we hope everyone has a great day. And thank you for tuning in. And we will see you next time.
Thank you.